Let's take a look at the life cycle of sea turtles. We actually know very little about the first few years of a sea turtle's life, and these are often referred to as the lost years. We think the baby sea turtles head straight out into the open ocean, where they spend several years drifting in ocean currents and living and feeding around floating mats of algae. After a few years, the juvenile sea turtles move closer to shore and search for food around coral reefs and seagrass meadows. Once they reach maturity, which can take more than 30 years, they head back to the area where they were born to mate, and for females, to nest. Sea turtles are capable of migrating huge distances, sometimes thousands of kilometers. Males typically make this migration every year, whereas females migrate every 2 to 3 years. Nesting takes a lot of energy, and so they need a little more time to recover between migrations. At Sixth Senses Lamu, we're very lucky to have green turtles nesting on our beaches each year. We use this as an opportunity to collect data to find out more about the nesting turtle population. Our security team, who regularly patrol our beaches, let us know if they spot a nesting turtle or spot their tracks the following morning. Let's take a look at some tracks from last week. So I received a call from security this morning to let me know that there are turtle tracks on the beach from last night. Let's go take a look. We can use the tracks to determine which way the turtle was travelling. This helps us to follow the turtle's movements and locate and mark the nest. We also measure the width of the tracks, which helps us to estimate the size of the nesting turtle. This one looks pretty big. If we're lucky enough to witness the female turtle laying eggs, we'll also take identification photographs so that we can know if the same female nests again. We're very careful when we take the photographs not to disturb the turtle. Green sea turtles typically lay 70 to 125 eggs in a nest and can lay multiple nests in a season, sometimes as many as 8. 50 to 70 days after the eggs have been laid, the baby turtles are ready to hatch. At Sixth Senses Lamu, our very special Nest Watch team monitors the nest to try to capture the moment they hatch. So we're here at the nest now, and we can see some of the baby green turtles just popping their heads up. They're a little bit sleepy at the moment, which isn't uncommon. These turtles will likely have hatched 2 or 3 days ago and have spent this time working their way up towards the surface. The hatchlings tend to do this in stages and will all move together, then rest, then move together again. So these ones are just in a resting phase at the moment. Sometimes the eggs can be up to 1 meter below the surface of the sand, so they have a long way to climb. Hopefully, they'll wake up soon and we can watch them run to the ocean. In the meantime, we'll dig a trench to help make their journey to the ocean a little bit easier. You may be wondering why we're only using red lights. This is because turtle hatchlings use the natural light of the horizon, which is usually over the ocean, to find their way to the water. White light tends to disorientate the hatchlings, so they follow the white light rather than the light of the horizon and may start running in the wrong direction. Sea turtles are far less sensitive to red light, and so red light is much better to use during hatching events. Oh, here they go. Some of the babies underneath have clearly woken up and they're pushing the hatchlings at the surface. There are lots of hatchlings. This looks like a super successful nest. Now I'm going to open the enclosure and let them run to the ocean. They have just enough energy left from their yolk sac, which provides them with all of their nutrients whilst they're in the egg, to get them into the water and out into the open ocean. So we want to make sure that they can do this as quickly as possible. Sea turtle hatchlings are totally independent and likely never even meet their mum. They have a pretty rough ride ahead. It's estimated that only 1 in 1,000 hatchlings will complete the cycle and return to these areas to mate and nest. Fingers crossed, these are the lucky ones.
Wow, those baby turtles are so cute! But they're running all over the place, they're moving so fast. How do you keep track of them, Joe? How do you know how many turtles came out of that nest?
That's a great question. As you can see, everything gets a little hectic once the hatchlings reach the surface and start running to the ocean, so it's almost impossible to count them all. Instead, we dig up or excavate the nest a couple of days later and count the number of egg fragments. As sea turtles are a protected species here in the Maldives, Olive Ridley Project has a special permit from the government to allow us to do this. Okay, so it's been a couple of days since we saw our little baby turtles head down to the ocean. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the nest itself to find out how many eggs there were and how many of those hatched. We dig down to the egg chamber and remove all of the egg fragments. We also remove any eggs that haven't hatched. In almost every nest, there'll be unhatched eggs which have either stopped developing or have never started to develop. We then count and record everything we've removed from the nest. In this nest, there were 116 eggs in total, and 112 of these hatched. This means 97% of the eggs hatched successfully. A fantastic result.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that amazing nesting information with us, Joe. Hey, I've got a joke for you. If the hatchlings are totally independent from their mother once they hatch, how do they contact her for Mother's Day? They call her on the shell phone. It's terrible. Okay. Now we do a lot of research here at Six Senses Lamu, and these nesting events are so important for our population here. Now let's have a go at doing some nesting population research ourselves. As an example, if in 2018 we had 30 nests here at Six Senses Lamu, and we recorded that nesting turtles came up 6 times to lay these nests, how many turtles were there that season? The answer is, well, if we take those 30 nests and we split them up into groups of 6, then we're left with 5 groups of 6. So this means that we had 5 nesting turtles that season. As another example, if of those hatchlings in 2018 we had 1,500, and there's a chance to survive to adulthood of 1 in 1,000, how many hatchlings would we expect to live till adulthood? Well, we take that 1,500 and we divide by 1,000. Now we're left with 1.5 or 1.5. Now we can't have 1.5 adult turtles in real life. So what we can do is either round it down to 1 or round it up to 2. So we could say we expect 1 or 2 hatchlings to survive to adulthood. Now you can have a go with some example numbers from 2019 nesting season.